The Midnight Carnival. Part 2. Weeks had passed since my encounter with the Midnight Carnival, yet I couldn't shake the sense of being watched. Every shadow seemed darker. Every whisper carried a sinister tone. Sleep eluded me, and the few moments I managed to drift off were filled with nightmares of glowing eyes and cruel smiles. One evening, while attempting to lose myself in work, a cold breeze rustled through my apartment. The lights flickered and a soft, mocking laugh echoed from the corners of the room. I turned quickly, but there was nothing there. Only a small, ornate envelope on my desk that hadn't been there before. My hands trembled as I picked it up, breaking the seal. Inside was a single card, its edges gilded in gold. "Your presence is requested," it read, "at the Midnight Carnival's second trial." The date and time were set for that very night. Fear gripped me, but I knew I had no choice. If I ignored the summons, the nightmares would only grow worse. I left my apartment and drove to the location, the route familiar yet surreal. The sky was an inky black by the time I arrived at the desolate field where the carnival once stood. As if on cue, the carnival materialized before my eyes, lights flickering to life and music swelling in the air. The grand archway beckoned, and I stepped through it, heart pounding. Inside, the atmosphere was even more sinister than before. The stalls seemed to leer at me, and the laughter of the children was more like the cackling of demons. I pushed forward, knowing Lucifer was watching. A path of crimson carpets led me to a central tent, its canvas black as night. I hesitated before stepping inside. The interior was illuminated by a dim red light, casting eerie shadows. At the far end, a tall figure stood waiting. Lucifer's eyes sparkled with amusement as I approached. "Welcome back," he said, voice dripping with mockery. "I see you've accepted the invitation." "What choice did I have?" I spat, anger momentarily overcoming fear. Lucifer's smile was chilling. "Indeed. Let us not delay then. Your second trial awaits." With a wave of his hand, the ground beneath me shifted, and I found myself in a labyrinth of mirrors once more. But this time, the reflections were not just of me. They showed scenes from my life, moments of regret and fear. The path twisted and turned, each step bringing me face to face with my darkest memories. I stumbled upon a room filled with clocks, their ticking synchronized to a maddening rhythm. At the center stood a pedestal with an hourglass, its sand trickling down at an alarming rate. A note beside it read, "Turn back time." Desperation clawed at me as I tried to understand. I reached for the hourglass, turning it upside down, but nothing happened. The ticking grew louder, more insistent. I frantically searched the room, looking for a clue. Then it hit me. The mirrors. They reflected not just the present, but the past. I approached one, focusing on a memory of a decision I regretted. The mirror shimmered, and I felt a strange sensation, like being pulled through the glass. I found myself reliving the moment, but this time I made a different choice. The scene shifted, and I was back in the room, the hourglass reset. The ticking had stopped. Lucifer's voice echoed through the chamber. "Impressive. Few manage to alter their own history. But remember, each change has its consequences." The labyrinth dissolved, and I stood before Lucifer once more. "You've passed the second trial," he said, eyes glinting with something like approval. "But the final trial will be the hardest. Prepare yourself, for it is not merely your past you'll face, but the very essence of your soul." Before I could respond, I was back in my apartment, the card now blank and the cold breeze gone. The carnival had receded into the night, but the weight of Lucifer's words lingered. The final trial loomed ahead, and with it, the promise of freedom, or eternal damnation. I knew I had to be ready, for the Midnight Carnival would return, and this time there would be no turning back.